Thanks for being here today, guys. We've had some submissions to our Ask the Expert on our webpage, and I want to make sure that we answer those questions and discuss it for them because it's going to benefit anybody watching this video. So we had a parent submit a question. She has 3 kids, and so she's wondering about strategies with use of the iPad and wants to know, is she on the right track, or what else could she be doing? So each kid has a tablet, and it sounds like the behavior of concern is fighting between the siblings. And what family hasn't worried about fighting between the siblings, especially when they're young? So what they're doing right now is if a hit occurs, they are removing access to that electronic or that iPad for an hour. And or they also talk about they're removing it if they're not doing it what they're supposed to be doing. They did want to clarify that they are very on top of monitoring the iPad, and they want to know, what's your professional opinion? Are they on the right track, or is there more they could be doing?
Good question. Well, I think the first thing is that it's great that you're thinking about or looking at changing your children's behavior, using a system and identifying what you can do. So I think that is great because raising kids is really hard. And there are times where you see behaviors come up that you want to decrease or, just change what's going on in the home. So I think that's awesome. So I think the first thing to be looking at is using the iPad not only as removing it when they do something wrong, but also maybe using it as a reinforcement or reward. So I'm not sure what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's good to use it in like both ways. So Monica, like you were saying, if we want to decrease some type of behavior that we don't want to see more of, then, we could use that as a removal where they lose it for a certain amount of time. But also, I think if what behaviors do we want to see more of? So if a behavior of a concern is, hitting the siblings, and we know that can be a very normal behavior, among siblings of, just maybe not sharing or hitting each other. But what do we want to see more that they're doing? Do we want to see them sharing more? Why are they hitting? Is it because they're not sharing their toys? One kid's in the other person's space, they're borrowing their clothes, they're bugging them. So what behavior can we maybe teach them, or what behavior do we want to see happen more? So if one sibling is sitting nicely next to the other sibling, we can reward them with iPad time. I'm not sure how long they're able to get the iPad now, but instead of just giving them like free access to the iPad, maybe they could earn minutes on the iPad. And, each time you catch them doing something nice with their siblings, hugging their siblings, helping out around the house, sharing their toys, that could equate to more time on the iPad. So at the end of the day, they kind of add up all their time, and that's how much time they can get on their iPad. And so they're already getting their iPad, or their tablet. And so now you're just teaching the behaviors that you want to see more of and getting them more tablet time with the behaviors that you want to see more of.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's great, Monica and Stephanie. The whole idea, it's like what Monica and Stephanie were sharing. I think it's amazing that, this mom and dad are putting something together so that they can kind of figure out how to monitor and deal with some of the maladaptive behaviors that we typically see with, children, especially when they're close in age, they're fighting, they're not communicating. So the idea here is, just repeating what Monica and Stephanie are saying, is instead of using like some sort of penalty-based plan, is also putting some sort of reinforcement-based plan in place so that you can increase all the great things that you want to see. So whether or not they already have the iPad and you add minutes to it, or you catch them doing something good and you keep adding some time, or they have a list of chores that they need to complete and you add minutes that way, I think would be a great idea. You did mention, Marquis, that mom was asking about whether or not this was a pretty good plan because they had some concerns as to whether or not this would work or if things would get worse. And so, I tell people all the time, when you put something in place, any type of intervention, what you want to do is you want to collect simple data. And so to make it very easy, have a calendar uh, uh, up on your refrigerator, and you could just tally how often with the plus sign, how often they're doing some of the things that you want, and use a negative sign or a minus sign for how often they're engaging in maladaptive behaviors. And then you can look over the course of the week as to whether or not you see an increase in the pluses and a decrease in the minuses or negatives. So data collection will really tell you whether or not things are getting better or something's not working right, and that way you can make data-based decisions.
Thanks, guys. And if you relate to this question and it made you think of additional things you want to ask, please reach out to us. We would be happy to answer them.